Welcome to the Unity BootCamp lesson on updating user entities. In this lesson, we'll be updating the user entity that we created in the previous lesson to help track the user's progress in the example game's horde mode. When invoking the update entity request, we need to supply the following parameters: the entity ID, the entity type, the updated JSON data, the ACL, and the version. It's important to note that the JSON data that's being passed in will completely replace the entity data that's on the brainCloud servers. Click the JSON response to familiarize yourself with the data that the request will return. Open Visual Studio and navigate to the user data script. Declare a public method called setLevelCompleted. Check to see if the Boolean member variable that corresponds with the level index parameter has changed or not. If the value has changed, then return true. If this function returns true, then we know to update the user entity data on brainCloud with the user's progress. Save the file and navigate to the network script. Declare a pair of callback delegates that will be used to handle the response for the update entity request. Scroll down to the bottom. Declare a public method called updateUserEntityData. In the body of the method, we're going to check to see if the user is authenticated. If the user is not authenticated, we'll log in a meaningful error message, and if set, we'll invoke the failed callback delegate. If the user is authenticated, declare success callback lambda. In the body of the lambda, log the response data. And if set, invoke the completed callback delegate. Next, declare the failed callback lambda. In the body of the lambda, log an error along with the status message, and if set, invoke the failed callback delegate. Invoke brainCloud's entity services update entity request. Pass in the entity ID, the entity type, the JSON data, the ACL constant, -1 to increment the entity version, and the success and failure callback lambdas as the arguments. Save the file and navigate to the game script. Scroll down and find the next level method. In the body, invoke the user data member variable's setLevelCompleted method. Pass in the mLevel index member variable as the argument. If this was the first time the user has been that level, then the local variable will be true, and that means the user entity needs to be updated on brainCloud. Invoke the network's updateUserEntityData method. Pass in the entity ID, the entity type, and the formatted JSON data as the arguments. Scroll down and find the onBossHasExploded method. In the body, invoke the user data member variable's setLevelCompleted method. Pass in the mLevel index member variable as the argument. Then, if the user entity needs to be updated on brainCloud, invoke the network's updateUserEntityData method. Pass in the entity ID, the entity type, and the formatted JSON data as the arguments. Save the file and open Unity. If you need to perform a manual refresh, do so now. Run the game. We're going to play the game and try and beat level 1 to update the user entity data. Playback has been sped up to save time. We've beaten level 1 and the update entity request was made to keep brainCloud up to date with our progress. Pause the game and click main menu. Click horde mode. Notice that the level 2 button is enabled. Stop the game and rerun it. Click horde mode. Notice again that the level 2 button is enabled. The user entity data that we loaded on startup included the updated changes from our previous session. Attaching an email identity to the user's profile is the next lesson in the Unity BootCamp.